A lot of it is the perfectionism is huge. I work with accomplished, smart women who put so much pressure on themselves. And so I tell them from the start, the only way you get an A+ in 90-day business launch is to do B- work. So reminding them of that. And that's another benefit, I think, of the timeline, where if it was a 120-day business launch, if it was 6-month business launch, there would be so much perfectionism and so much overthinking, so much dragging their feet. So I'm kind of forced them to make what I like to call wobbly CEO decisions along the way. And I'll tell them, you're not going to know what the right thing is, but you're going to have to choose something. So just choose something, and then we're going to move on.
Welcome to another episode of the Health Coach Academy podcast. I'm your host, Omar Cumberbatch of OmarCumberbatch.com. So excited to share today's guest with you. Her name is Michelle Ward. She is the founder of the 90-Day Business Launch. So I really wanted to dive in and pick her brain because 90 days has like a magical thing to it. It's a quarter in the business world, and you can really get your business into a very, very well-positioned place in 90 days with the mindset and the foundational pieces in place. So this is something that Michelle breaks down really well, and really excited to share her with you. As always, please leave a rating and review on iTunes. It goes a long way for me to continuously get awesome guests like Michelle. Also, my course is out. Jump on the website under courses. You can see the sales page there. And of course, if you have any questions about it, feel free to just reach out at Omar@OmarCumberbatch.com. You can also shoot me an email through the website as well. I'm really looking forward to spreading that around. And if you know anybody who is interested in starting a podcast and doing some of the similar things that I'm doing for the Health Coach Academy, jump on board, take a look, share it with anyone you know. Let's jump into the show. Hey, Michelle, how are you today? Welcome to the show.
Hi, Omar. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, no, like we had mentioned, I'm really excited to have you as well. We had a great pre-conversation a month ago, and we could have recorded that podcast, and we would,
Yeah.
and we're neighbors. We're right up the block from each other. It's a really, really cool thing that we got to connect. So thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, I'm excited. And yeah, this is just a bonus. It was a great conversation before. I know it'll be a great conversation now. And, no pressure or anything.
Never, never. So, Michelle, tell us your origin story. I know that you have a wonderful one, and it can relate to a lot of people on a lot of levels. So I'll let you go ahead and start with it, and we'll ask some questions right after.
Yeah, totally. Okay, well, and stop me at any time because, like most entrepreneurs, my story is not linear. Lots of, twists and turns, but the short version is that um my first career, my first love was in performing and musical theater. I went to NYU Tisch School of the Arts to get my BFA in musical theater, and like that was just my dream forever, until it wasn't. And I was in my mid to late 20s and, jokingly saying, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. And people would laugh and I would say, no, but really, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. And what I realized more than anything when I thought of, well, I'm going to be working for another 40 years till I retire. That's a very big chunk of change. And, what's a career that I can be excited about, that I could be passionate about. I wasn't as optimistic then as I am now. And I didn't think I could find anything that I was as passionate about as I was about performing. But I said, I just want to enjoy it. I just want to enjoy my life. I want to enjoy my time. I want to enjoy my work. And the first thing I came to recognize was that I needed to be an entrepreneur in order for that to happen. And that was really kind of an oh crap balls moment, as I like to say, because, coming as an actor, I had already done the unstable, risky thing. And I was really hoping I would just wake up and find that I wanted to, I don't know, be an accountant or a lawyer or something that was just a very, linear, determined path where I would get, mythical things for me like a 401k and health insurance and all of that. But, I had all these day jobs and I had all these jobs where, at my breaking point moment when I realized something needed to change, and when I realized entrepreneurship was the way to go for me, was having a boss that made me psychosomatic. And I was living in New York City, and I was going to work about a year into this job where he was just so this verbally abusive manager. And I had to run off the train in Union Square, which I've since learned is the fourth busiest subway station in New York City,
Mm.
and dry heave on the platform into the trash can during rush hour with, thousands of people swarming all around me. And I knew something had to change when I went to turn myself around to go home, because obviously I wasn't going to go into work that day. And I felt absolutely fine. And I knew that was my wake up call. So it was that moment that I said something needs to change. I had to come to that realization that entrepreneurship was the way to go. And I really became, at that point, this was back in 2007 ish, what could I offer? What could I do? And I really became the career coach that I needed at the time. I wanted to work with creative people because I couldn't find someone that I felt really understood what I was going through and looking for a new career as a creative person, an entrepreneurial person. So that's how my business started. I was the When I Grow Up coach. That was the name of my business back then. And I wound up working with women to help them discover, launch, and grow their dream businesses. And in 2021, very early on, I went all in on a program that I've been running since 2018 called 90 Day Business Launch, and really said, okay, I really want to focus on helping women start their online businesses so that they could be their own damn boss in 90 days. So that's like the short version of how that all came to be.
No, you did pretty good cutting it
Okay,
down to
good.
size. So,
Good.
so one of the things I did look up on your journey, that
Yeah.
evolution was also a side hustle to begin with.
Yes. Yep.
Can you
Yep.
talk
It
about
was.
that
I
a
mean,
drop?
yeah. I mean, I say that the very first thing I did to become an entrepreneur was to get a new job. And I now coin that type of job a bridge job, which is a job that just exists to meet your financial needs, give you the time and energy that you need to devote to your side hustle, to your business. And it solely exists to get you out of there and be a full-time entrepreneur. So the first thing I did was, I knew I couldn't stay in that job with the boss that made me psychosomatic and was verbally abusive. So I found a job as an executive assistant at a financial consulting company. I got paid like an extra $10,000 over what I was getting paid in the other job. I had a bonus for the first time ever. I had health insurance for the first time ever. So it was a good gig for what I needed, even though I didn't enjoy it. But I was there for 2 years and 7 months while I got my certification, and I started building my business up, so that in March of 2010, in the middle of one of our biggest recessions, I said, yeah, no, I don't need this job that's really stable and safe. I'm going to go leave to be the When I Grow Up coach. And knock on wood, I haven't had to look back, thankfully.
Well, that's a great story because like a lot of us are in that similar boat where we
Yeah.
may be trying to transition into the entrepreneurial space. So yeah, that's very inspirational as well as like something that we can really map and try to do on our own. So I definitely have to ask because again, these are big leaps and I'm not sure if I gathered specifically whether or not you were always an entrepreneurial spirit? Were you kind of always good at business? Or is this really something of a leap of faith? Talk about
Yeah.
that a bit.
Yeah. It's funny because I was in like the Future Business Leaders of America club in high school, but what I laugh about it because I was only there because my best friend was interested and we wanted to be in a club together, and I was like, fine, I'll be in this club. I was totally a theater chorus geek, but I think there's a lot about being an actor that is really entrepreneurial, and I think that if that was addressed more and I was taught more about it, it would have helped me kind of going out. But you have to be entrepreneurial in order to be a good actor and sell yourself. That part of the business, it's really important. But I have had no business training. I've had no business education. My father was an entrepreneur, but he inherited his business from, well, he bought his dad's business. And so it was not a business that he was like passionate about or excited about. He would come home when I was growing up and we'd say, how was your day at work? And he would say, well, it's called work because it's not play, but I guess I'll go back tomorrow so that we can eat. And I was never a rebellious kid, but I feel like that's how I rebelled against, my family. But I didn't come from entrepreneurs. I also didn't come from artists, creative people. I was really kind of an anomaly in that way. So I think that was part of my oh crap balls moment of being an entrepreneur. Like I didn't go to business school. I didn't have any of that. I just had the transferable skills I had in being an actor and having to sell myself in a lot of different ways. And that was, and then just what the internet gave me and what my coaching certification gave me and what I was able to piece together for myself.
Mm-hmm. No, that's an interesting journey and an interesting
Yeah.
story because like that's one of the other things too. It's like obviously we love hearing that was the case because the entrepreneurial journey is a learned journey, and that's something that it's even if you don't have all those prior experiences, you can make a great living as an entrepreneur and just learn on the fly. So that's a big
Yes.
deal.
Yes. A million percent. I can't, I mean, I really do pinch myself, oh my gosh, almost 13 years after, I gave my notice and I left my job that I look around and go, oh my gosh, my business has given me my house. My business has enabled my husband to leave the job that he wasn't happy at.
Yeah.
There's just, it has just exceeded what I wanted from it, expected from it, thought was possible, in so many ways.
Amen. So,
Yeah.
so you launched a 90-day business
Uh-huh.
product in 2018. What is
Yeah.
so magical about 90 days?
Yeah. I think 90 days is this, I don't want to say perfect, but I feel like just right. It's like a Goldilocks amount of time where my clients don't feel super pressure to get things. Oh my gosh. Like I think
Mhm.
30 days, even 60 days, it would feel very, very rushed and stressful. But I think anything more than 90 days and you're like, the momentum could be lost so easily. It's way easier to just drag your feet. I've had so many clients that, I ask them when they're done with the program, like what got you to launch day? And so many of them said, knowing there is a deadline, knowing that I give my clients 120 days in the program so that there's a buffer and so that I could give them lessons around getting their first clients, because it's not just about like, well, great, my doors are open, but how do you bring people in? And they say, if I didn't have that deadline, if I didn't have that date in my mind that I knew you were revoking my access, it just wouldn't have happened. So I think there's also something business minded, and I love kind of the side effect of this with my clients too, is that when you start thinking in those 90-day chunks, then you're automatically just thinking in quarters,
Right,
which
right.
as a business owner is just so natural. So being able to show them like, look what you could accomplish in just 90 days, I think is also a really powerful tool.
No, yeah, absolutely. Like I was when I heard 90, I'm thinking like you said, a quarter, and so
Uh-huh.
depending on the time of year, it's really, really something that's very impactful in the way that you
Yeah.
look at things. So what do we learn? Found like obviously the 90-day system is very, very foundation oriented,
Yes.
and that's one of the things that I think I've struggled with over time. And like, what do we do first? We get the
Yep.
certification, for health coaches specifically, and I don't know what to do first.
Yes.
What do you share in this 90 days to get us like what are our first steps?
Yes. Okay. So there's like this is kind of a cheat because I have four phases of what I've called the services that sell system, which is what I teach inside 90-day business launch. But there's a phase zero. So the very first step, other than the logistical, fill out your client info form and join our private community, is mindset work. And I find that, unless my clients really look at what am I afraid of? What's holding me back? What do I need to give myself permission to do or not do? And really hold that mirror up. And I give them tools to feel that business fear, but do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
We just can't proceed. Then there, because that emotional piece and that fear, and their perfectionism, usually, and their overwhelm is going to get in their way no matter what. So while phase one is all about building strong business foundations, without that mindset work, it, it just can't happen. It
Mm-hmm.
just can't happen. So, jumping into the other phases. So, phase one is building a strong business foundation. And this is really where, I help them craft what I call their business plan. And I don't mean this like super, 100-page plus, deck that you could take to a bank and get a loan. It's really this more internal compass and clarification of what problem does your business solve, who are you serving, what are they challenged by, what are they hoping to walk away with, what's the name of your business, what's your elevator pitch, what's your first offer or offers you're going to be providing, what's the pricing, how do you onboard your first client, what's the marketing plan. So really going into the nitty-gritty of those strong foundations, because without it, you can't even get to the other phases, and you can't bring those first clients in the way that you want. So once that's complete, phase two is all about creating resonant marketing. So walking them through their copy, their brand suite, so specifically, fonts and colors, and like typographic logo if they want that, and then building their website. So walking them through that process. And then phase three is launching with confidence. Let's get you ready for launch day. Let me prepare you as to what launch day looks like. Let's make sure everything is in working order. And then phase four is connecting with clients. And I give them, kind of, this is the minimum viable marketing plan that you should be, doing your first quarter or 2 quarters in your business. You should really be looking at that. But I'm giving them a lot of other tools that I know are working for myself and my clients right now in the space. And a lot of them are very connection based. It's really relationship based marketing, over and above everything else. So that's phase four. And that's the complete services at sell system.
Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. But I'm glad that you kind of led off with the idea that really clarifying what you actually do is outside. I take it back. You did say the mindset part was
Uh-huh.
absolutely the super foundational thing. But I guess like the first pillar of your program is really what are you doing? Like what
Yeah.
exactly, who are
What are
you
you
helping?
doing?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And you can imagine, I had a client who graduated recently, come out of, a nutrition coaching certification that she loved, but she said to me, "Oh my gosh, we had a here's how you start your business session, lessons, whatever class within it." And she says, "I'm just even more confused than I was when I started. And all I have is just a whole bunch of post-it notes." And I think that what I see happening a lot is, I think especially because like marketing gurus are such low-hanging fruit. And, when we're scrolling social media, it's all about like, hey, let me teach you how to run Facebook ads. Hey, let me teach you how to get 1,000 people on your webinar in 10 minutes. Hey, and so it's about marketing. And I think most people just dive into marketing. That's what this client did. Like, well, I'm on Instagram and I'm posting, but no one's coming. And it's like, okay, well, great. Do you know who you're even trying to attract? And if someone did come, do you know what you're selling them? Like, do you know how you're working with them? Do you know how to describe what it is that you do? And the answers are usually no, 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 and no.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a common thing that without a doubt, especially like I said, my mindset coming out was always like, you just want to help people, and there was
Yeah.
really nothing that helped like navigate me into a lane specifically that was something that was going to be beneficial. So I did the Facebook ads for right out the gate, and
Uh-huh.
obviously I didn't get any bites. I didn't know what I was doing. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it pains me, like it hurts my heart because not only are you out of that money that you spent, but that, that time and that energy. I feel like when you're at the start of your business, you're just in a really, really vulnerable space. And so to have that defeat right off the bat, oh gosh, I hate it.
yeah.
And I wish I could have a bullhorn and just shout to all of social media, hey, if you're looking to start your business and you're just only have just a bunch of marketing pieces, like it doesn't mean that's a waste, but you can't, they're not going to work for you until we figure out the foundational business pieces first. So
Right,
you
right.
go take a step back and then go and use what you have. Like I have a client right now who came to me with like a website, and I have at least half of my clients come to me with like pieces of things that they have. They don't come to me with a totally clean slate, and some of them have been working in their businesses for months or years, but they just know like, oh, I've never done this foundational work, or I just will never put myself out there, or they know that there's something that needs to be reworked and looked at.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. So when you deal with your clients in this program, what do you find are like the biggest mindset shifts that you
Mm.
help them overcome?
Uh, um, a lot of it is the perfectionism is huge. I work with accomplished, smart women who put so much pressure on themselves. And so I tell them from the start, the only way you get an A plus in 90-day business launch is to do B minus work. So reminding them of that. And that's another benefit, I think, of the timeline, where if it was a 120-day business launch, if it was 6-month business launch, there would be so much perfectionism and so much overthinking, so much dragging their feet. So I'm kind of forced them to make what I like to call wobbly CEO decisions along the way. And I'll tell them, you're not going to know what the right thing is, but you're going to have to choose something. So just
Hmm.
choose something, and then we're going to move on. And so I think that is probably one of the biggest pieces. And then I think another big piece is what they could get done in the time that they have. I think they walk into this thinking, well, I need 20 hours a week, or I need, a 5-hour time block, every weekend day for the foreseeable future. Otherwise, I'll never be able to get it done, or it's not worth sitting down. And I'm able to show them what they could get done in 45-minute blocks or 15-minute blocks. And I think that's something that really changes things for them. And just the time management piece too. I mean, when you're in a program like this, you have to figure out what works for you in terms of time management and project management. And that's all transferable into their business too. I tell them once they've graduated, great. Now take, the Tuesday and Thursday nights and Sunday afternoons that you would spend a 90-day business launch and just use it to work on your business. So I think those are like three big things that come to mind.
Yeah, no, I could definitely agree with all of those things. So it's good that you also highlight the fact that you can do this in a manageable amount of time in that 90-day
Yes.
program too.
Yes. 1,000,000%.
So what kind of results can you expect
Mm.
in these 90 days? What do you think is the normal outcome
Yeah.
after someone finishes your program?
Yeah, the normal outcome is, someone might not launch on day 90, but maybe they're launching on day 95 or day 100. So your business will be up, your website will be up. People will know that your business exists. You will have a plan as to how to go about getting your first clients, if not having your first client. So, I have a client that comes to mind that literally just wrapped up her time in the program, and before she even launched, she had, I think, 3 clients, just because she was telling people what she was working on. And people are like, oh, I want that. And she was just able to sign like 3 clients. And so now she quit her job pretty immediately. That's something that happens fairly often, sometimes not right when, and it's definitely not a prerequisite at all. You don't have to quit your job if you don't want to. But she was able to quit her job at the end of this year, even though she just launched her business like, I want to say maybe early December, late November. And she's already raised her prices so that her package is like $5,000. And I just went, oh, okay. She goes, I have such interest that I'm able to raise my prices. So is that average? Not necessarily, but it's not average. I think on average, you could expect to have your business open, have your plan, know how you're bringing people in, and have hopefully your first client that you're working with or at the ready who's about to come in.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So, like, obviously, you dive into a marketing component about this. I know we kind of talked
Mm-hmm.
about like the social media aspect of it. Like, what do you help in that respect as well? Is it something that you kind of curate specifically to the type of personality your client
Yeah,
has?
yeah. Yes and no. That's my annoying answer. So I definitely don't see myself as like, I'm not a social media marketing person. I'm not the here's how you grow your Instagram account to 1 million people. Like that's not my jam. But I do recommend and I help my clients figure out, you should start on one social media platform. A lot of people want to start with more. And if they want to start with more than one, that's okay. But they shouldn't probably do much more than that because I think that gets really overwhelming and doesn't work well for a lot of reasons. But I help them figure out, what's the best social media platform for them as well as for their ideal client. So I help them kind of figure that out. And then I help them with content ideas. I think it's something where when you're first starting out, if you're posting, 3-ish times a week, I don't think it needs to be this incessant thing. But you're posting 3 times a week, you're kind of just like building that muscle, creating that habit, getting in front of people. And I find that there's a lot of other marketing ideas. So like, for example, Instagram, I have I like roll my eyes at like sell in your DMs, which I'm just, I don't have a program like sell in your DMs, but I'll tell them, hey, how I get clients on Instagram is that anyone who follows me, I check them out. And if they look like they're not a bot, or someone looking to just promote their business to me, I follow them back and I say, hey, thanks for the follow. And based on what I see in their profile, I'll say like, oh, do you have a business question for me today? Or are you planning to launch a business this year? Or is there anything I could help you with today? And a lot of times they don't answer me, but a lot of times they do. Not a lot of times. Some of the times they do. And when they do, and they're just having a conversation of just like, oh yeah, I've been trying to launch my business for however long. And I'll be like, oh, that's great. What business are you starting? And I just talk to them like a freaking person. And it's not this robotic, like, hi, thanks for the follow. Here's how you could give me money or go get on my calendar or whatever. It's like that attack. That's something that has gotten me clients. So I'm sharing these tactics and I give them probably a dozen different things that I say to them. I don't want you to try all these things. I don't want you to try all these things at once or at all ever. But what I want you to do is stick to this minimum marketing plan. And once that feels like you have a handle on it and it doesn't be, you're not in like learning curve city, then look at these other ways that you could connect with people, have these coffee chats or do a webinar or, start doing reels or go to a networking event, pitch yourself for podcast, start your own podcast. So I'm giving them those sort of tools in that way without, but I wouldn't say like, I'm the person to go to build your webinar to like, but I could tell you how to run a webinar. So I do, I
Yeah.
tell them how to run a webinar.
Yeah, no, it's interesting the way that you brought up so many different avenues to get business. Like, do you really think anyone can fail in business?
I think they could fail if they don't show up. I think they could fail if they're to, and I don't mean you need to get uncomfortable or like experience lots of discomfort being a business owner, but I don't know a single business owner that's been successful by like doing what they feel 1,000,000% comfortable with.
Mhm.
I think you could fail by not talking about your business. So like in those aspects,
Mhm. It
yeah,
really,
but yeah,
yeah, I only bring it up because I think a lot of people, obviously are fearful of the failure, and
yeah, yeah,
there's so many
yeah,
ways to succeed that
yeah.
it's just
Oh
like
yeah,
it's interesting. That's why I say you brought up like just like you said, a dozen ways to get the clients, for instance.
yeah,
There's so that's 12 ways that you can make your thing work. So I like to
yeah,
hear
yes.
that from I guess as
Yes,
well.
yes, yes. Thank you. And I agree with that. I mean, I think that there's this myth that successful entrepreneurs have these specific qualities. And if you don't have these specific qualities, you won't be like, no. I just say I think the only test you need to give yourself as to whether entrepreneurship is for you and whether you're going to be like a quote unquote successful entrepreneur is like, what kind of stress do you want? Because
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
employee stress and there's entrepreneurial stress. Um, and if you would rather trade the stress of like, I have to work for someone else, I need to do what they say, I need to work with the people that they surround me with, I need to ask permission to go on vacation, I need to wait for raises and promotions. But there's so much stress as an entrepreneur and just, knowing where your next client's coming from. How are you getting that money? There's no, stable paycheck every 2 weeks, at least usually not at first. Hopefully we could all get there.
Mhm.
And so knowing that you're responsible for the money coming in the door, the clients coming in the door, that's definitely a certain type of stress. But there's obviously, the good side of that equation is the freedom and the control. And the good side of being an employee is that, you get your paycheck of a determined amount, every 2 weeks and you could have those benefits. But I think that it's really false to say that being an employee is safe and being an entrepreneur is risky. I think that that's just, I hate that that's the message that so many of us receive in this society. And it's just, and not true.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's definitely a message, and you got to believe that somewhere along the line it was intentional. So, like, you have more
Hmm.
people who sign up to not get the freedom and liberties that entrepreneurship actually offers. So, yeah, no, this is listen, Michelle, you killed it as always. I really yeah, like I know we can go on for hours about just all kinds of different things business, but I think that you captured a lot of what I was looking to share with the audience. So I
Good.
want you to have an opportunity maybe to give us some parting advice on the entrepreneurial journey, and also
Yeah.
just how we can keep in touch with you. And if we're interested in the 90-day program, let
Yeah.
us know how to get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you. I'm just like, that's it. It's over. I could talk to you forever.
Oh, I know
Hopefully,
it's 40 minutes already, so I'm like, this is
I
flying
can't
by.
believe it. I can't believe it. No, this is wonderful. I mean, I guess the parting, I don't know, last words, just highlighting the fact that there are the blessing and the curse of entrepreneurship in 2023, starting a business in 2023, is that there are infinite ways to do it. So like, yay, there's infinite ways to do it. Oh my gosh, there's infinite ways to do it. And I think that, if I'm this person, great. If it's another person, great. But like, find the person, the people, the program, the support, the community, the coach that really understands that, and will help you find that intersection of how you want to work, who you want to work with, what you want to work on, and what you feel your ideal clients want. And it's just going to be really open in how they help you get there. So don't give up. You could do it. And if you want to connect with me further, I mean, 90daybusinesslaunch.com is where you'll find all my stuff. Hit that program button. You'll learn more about the program. You could book a call with me or just sign up if you're ready to go. But I really want to call out my training, which is at 90daybusinesslaunch.com/training. And right now I change the title all the time. right now. It's called The Only 4 Steps You Need to Start Your Business in 2023, so you'll never wonder what's next. And if you really want a deep dive into those 4 phases, if you're like, Michelle, those 4 phases were great, but like, can you tell me exactly what the minimum, marketing plan is? Can you tell me exactly what that business plan consists of in phase 1? Can you tell me exactly what to do on launch date? Like, I do all of that within this free training. So just go get it.
Excellent. Listen, you've been fantastic. I appreciate you taking the time again to jump on the show and teach us health coaches a thing or two. And I know that we were going to get a ton out of this episode. So thanks again. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. You too, Omar.
Bye-bye. Hope you enjoyed listening to today's episode of the Health Coach Academy podcast. If you did, jump over to iTunes and leave a rating and or review. It goes a long way in helping get this message out to our fellow health coaches and people in our industry. Also, if you can, jump over to my website, omarcumberbatch.com, where I give out a lot of freebies, including my 5-day sugar challenge for people who are having issues with sugar. And also for health coaches, I have the book, Hidden. It's the 6 not so obvious ways to get your clients unstuck. Have a great day.